sampai aku itu dan aku gak oleh kok nggak tahu kalau kamu
Ya.
semua kali konco aku gak apa namanya gawe enggak sama aku mau kayak di komputer tinggal mau polisi mau karo pakai nih polisi jaketan Cino
criminal undercover. Don't pop like trouble, breaking into your heart like that.
Cool shade stunner, yeah, owe it all to my mother. Hot like summer, yeah, I'm making you sweat like that.
Break it down. Ooh, when I look in the mirror, I'm not too hard to do. I got the superstar glow, so ooh,
To the boogie
a
line.
side step right left to my beat. I like the moon rock with me, baby. Know that I got that heat. Let me show you, 'cause talk is cheap.
Side step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll.
Smooth like butter.
Pour you in like no other. Don't need no usher to remind me you got it
Bad. Ain't no other that could sweep you up like a rubber. Straight up, I gotcha. Making you fall like that. Break it down. Ooh, when I look in the mirror, I'm what your heart into two. I got the superstar glow, so ooh.
to the boogie line.
Side step right left to my beat. I like the moon rock with me, baby. Know that I got that heat. Let me show you, 'cause talk is cheap.
A side step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll.
Get it, let it roll. Get it, let it roll.
Eyes on my wrist, I'm the nice guy. Got the right body and the right mind. Rolling up the party, got the right vibes. Move like haters.
Fresh boy, pull up and we lay low. All the players get moving when the bass low. Got army right behind us when we say so. Let's go. Side step right left to my beat. I like the moon rock with me, baby.
Know that I got that heat. Let me show you, 'cause talk is cheap.
Side step right left to my beat. Get it, let it roll.
Cool like, cool shade. And you know we don't stop. How like, ain't no. You been like, oh my god. We gon' make it rock in his head. We gon' make it bounce in his head. Hotter, sweeter, cooler.
Something's in the Something's in the air right now. Like when you
I need to lose it all. I need to live it up. This wave of emotion. I'm crying in the open. I'm crying in frozen cold without you. Flowing shots without you. I'm down. I'm down. Somebody flush me out. Somebody take me out. Milky Way of your loving. Burn me out like the oven. Burn me out like it's flaming hot without you. Like I just cannot without you. I'm down. Hey, I'm down. I wish I could get right. A love that stays. May all the fades away. And all the nicest things and take it breathe. May you find it okay. It serves it all the way. I live with this today. Give your heart, if you please. Solve the heartache, slowly decrease. Wanna be alright, wanna be alright, my love. I'm down. Although sometimes in love it hurts, narrow through the heart, but maybe it's for the better. We love each other, not the way we want it. Can't do shit about it. I'm down. I'm down. I'm down. I wish you could get right. A love that stays. May all the fades away. And all the nicest things I take it breathe. May you find it okay. It serves it all the way. Live yourself and stay. To live with peace today.
All right, guys. First of all, am I audible, guys? Can you hear my voice?
Yes,
Okay.
audible.
Okay. Hello, AFIS. Good evening and welcome to Wonder Voice webinar, which is supported by Global Millennial Group. This webinar today will be conducted in English. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Alfrey and I will be your moderator today. Thank you so much for all wanderers who is already waiting in the Zoom meeting and YouTube live streaming. I am sure you guys already knew, but let me remind you of the rules of our webinars today. First, participants are expected to enter the Zoom meeting 15 minutes before the webinar starts. Second, participants are expected to turn on their camera. Third, participants are not allowed to turn on their microphone before the moderator allows them to. Fourth, an attendance link or feedback form will be provided at the end of the webinar, and this data will be used for the e-certificate. So please be sure to fill it right. And last but not least, participants are not allowed to disseminate the Zoom link to non-participants. I'm going to do more checking for all of you here. Maybe I cannot see the YouTube attendance, but I can see all of you are getting excited in the chat box. Please type in the chat box on the scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you to attend this webinar today? I'm also going to type mine, which is wow. 100. Yeah, me too. I am so excited. I see that you guys are also excited. Wow, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God. Woo, you're rocking today, guys. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for your enthusiasm today. But before we begin our discussion, let me introduce you about Global Millennial Group. The operator, can you please share the screen? Okay. Let me introduce you about Global Millennial Group. So Global Millennial Group is a startup company focused to improve global quality education, especially in Indonesia, by providing various informal education activities and self-development platforms. We already got recognized by several corporations such as ASEAN, UN, UNODC, and recently from Ministry of Education and Culture. As you can see here, we have several programs. There are Global Millennial MUN that simulates the United Nations meeting and teaches the youth regarding diplomacy, negotiation, and bring awareness to international issues. And Wonder Voice, I'll be explaining more about this later. We also have Indonesia SDG Summit, a platform that encourages Indonesian youth to contribute to realizing the 2030 global goals through symposiums, discussions, and idea development. And we also have Be Global Indonesia, which helps Indonesian students to get international exposure. Next, please. We also have CV review. As you guys can see here, only with 50,000, your CV will be reviewed by our CEO, Mr. Mufidi Fikri, and you will be guided on how to write a proper CV that will maximize your possibility to be accepted in your next scholarship, internship, or job applications. Next, please. Of course, you can attend all programs. If you want to choose just one or two, you can check out our Instagram account at Global Millennial Group, and there you can find a link to register yourself. But if you want to get exclusive offering, you can attend all programs with special price, and you can get another privilege by being our members. We have 3 membership plans here: bronze, silver, and gold. Next, please. Don't worry about the price, because today we have special offering for you. Those of you wanderers who attend this webinar, you can use this code GMGMBR100 to get 100,000 rupiahs discount. I'll repeat it once again, GMGMBR1000 to get 100,000 rupiahs discount. You can screenshot it, guys. And next slide, please. All right, let's dive into Wonder Voice. Next slide, please. Okay. Wonder Voice is a program under Global Millennial Group that helps to improve the quality of youth English public speaking skills globally through international English speech competition. Next, please. Yeah. Wonder Voice is designed to help the youth to vocalize their voice, raise awareness, and connect them to create a better world and generation. Whether they are experienced or not, you can join English speech public speaking for the sake of your self-improvement. Many youths have the enthusiasm to participate in English speech competition, but are lacking of self-confidence. We are here to help them. We believe that youths need to be facilitated with high-quality events that just provide them with a platform to speak up their ideas effectively, but also to connect them to the global world in order to learn more about public speaking. And as you can see here, we have two programs. Next, please. First, we have International English Speech Competition. And in Wonder Voice 2.0, we have Our Rights Matter as green team and have 5 sub-teams as you can see here. Next, please. And we also have Public Speaking Schools. It is a mentoring program where the students will have a small group with an experienced mentor. The students can have personal interaction and consultation with the mentor if they find any question or any difficulties during the event. Next, please. Yeah, we also have feedback from our friends. Next, please. From Mr. Farhan from Indonesia and next, please. From Miss Arshia Upasna from Mauritius. Yep, next, please. With only 125,000 rupiah or $12, you can be the part of us by register on wondervoice.com/speechcom, or you can scan the QR code on your screen right now. And special for those of you who attend this webinar today, you can use WVSC50 to get 50,000 rupiah discount. I repeat it to you once again, or you can screenshot this slide. WVSC50 to get IDR 50,000 rupiah discount. All right, that's it for our info session today. Next, we are going to have our opening speech. Today's webinar is titled Fear in Public Speaking, How to Deal with It. To begin our webinar, we have our Director of Program Management, Ms. Haura Alia Amani, and she will be giving our opening speech for today. To Ms. Haura, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Alfred, for your opportunity. And I would like to say thank you so much for everyone. And first, let me adjust a bit more about my audio. Okay.
Okay, it's clear. Am I audible right now?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you so much. So, hi everyone. My name is Haura Alia Amani. As the Director of Program Management in this webinar, The Fear in Public Speaking, How to Deal with It. And on behalf of the Global Millennial Group and the Wonder Voice, I would like to say thank you so much for everyone that has joined in this room, both in Zoom meeting and YouTube live stream as well. Because without you guys, everyone, this webinar would never be happen. And we already have like a lot of participants tonight. I see like 490. Oh my God, that's a lot of number. Thank you so much. And I wanted to say thank you to my teammates, Bila and Elfrey. And also we have Mr. Audi as our CTO and Mr. Mufridis Fikri as our CEO of Global Millennial Group that takes part in this webinar to make it happen. I also wanted to say thank you so much, and I'm really grateful to have Miss Gabriela Robinson in here with us as our speaker for tonight's webinar, because I know she's such an expert in her field, and you know, you can't find someone better than her in terms of public speaking. And yes, I hope you guys can learn a lot from her, both in public speaking, speech, and you can make it and apply it in your real life, so you could gain a bit more or gain more public speaking skills after the webinar. So I hope this webinar won't be just like going come and go. No, I don't wanna that happen. I want you to take a look and listen to this webinar until the very, very end, because I know there must be a good good value for you. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you and enjoy the webinar. Back to you, Alfred.
Yes, thank you so much to Miss Howard for the great and warm welcome speech. I would like to remind you guys that you need to fill the feedback form in order to get your e-certificate. So make sure you are here until the end of this webinar and you will get the feedback form later. In today's webinar, we have Miss Gabriela Robinson. She has been working as professional MC for 4 years, and she also is a certified master coach and practitioner of American Board Neurolinguistic Programming. That's really cool to have such an expert in our webinar tonight. After the explanation from our speaker, we are going to have our sharing and discussion session with all of you. So you can prepare your questions now, and after that, you can drop it in our live chat in Zoom or in YouTube after the presentation session by Miss Gabriela, and the committee will pick up those questions. And we also open for those of you who wants to unmute yourself and ask directly to Miss Gabriela. Well, let's welcome our amazing speaker. Hello, Miss Gabriela, how are you?
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much to Elfrey and Hara for the lovely introduction just now. And to all of our viewers, Selamat Malam from Malaysia. So it's really exciting to be here with all of you, and I'm very delighted to be able to share with you some of my public speaking tips from my experience as an MC. And for our webinar today, I will be addressing some common reasons why people fear public speaking. And I will also be touching base on some insights on neurolinguistic programming, in other words, in neuroscience, which is the study of the brain and the body, so that we can all understand what happens to us when we are about to go on stage. Okay, and then I'll also be continuing with some tools which will help you. And if you don't understand anything or if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box and we will address them later on. Okay, so to kickstart our topic today, the fear of public speaking and how to deal with it, let's first look at some of the very common reasons why people fear public speaking. Okay. So I believe the first one that we have right there is being judged. Now, we all know that being judged is very common, right? We can all relate to this. And what you need to know is that everybody judges everybody. As I am speaking here with you today, you are judging me. And if you are speaking, I will be judging you. So naturally, we have to learn to accept this as a fact. And if by any chance you receive some feedback or criticism, it's okay. Criticism or feedback is just different perspectives from how people have viewed you. So you need to always have an open mind and be able to adjust or practice better and see how you can better yourself, all right? Another fear of public speaking is making a mistake. Now, this is extremely common. We all make mistakes. We all fumble on our words. It happens. And with a lot of practice, you will be able to cover this up without it being noticeable by other people. But of course, this comes with time. And later on, if you have any questions regarding how to cover a mistake, please ask me. Been there many times. Okay. Another reason why we fear public speaking is that we can have internal conflict between ourselves, how we talk to ourselves. We will tell ourselves, oh, we're nervous, we can't do it. But this is just to change and shift our mindset. Okay, another reason there before internal conflict is unprepared. When we are unprepared and we don't do our homework before the event, naturally, we are going to be making those mistakes. And that is one very true reason why we may fear speaking up. Okay, so the next one is speaking in front of professionals. This is a big one, all right? When we are speaking on a topic in a room filled with your peers, or you're speaking on a topic in front of professionals who are well-versed in this topic, it can be very nerve-wracking because these are the people who are qualified to judge you on that topic, right? So it's very important in this case to always fact check the message that you are presenting to your audience, okay? The last one we have here is saying something politically incorrect. This is a huge one, all right? It's something that you might say that could come across as offensive to other people. Or maybe you have told a joke and the joke is just not funny because what is funny to you is not funny to somebody else, okay? And this is where what we call culture sensitivity comes into play. We need to be well aware of the different countries or the different types of people who are in the crowd and who we're speaking to, right? So these are some very real examples of why people fear public speaking. I'm sure some of you can relate to it, okay? Now, I would like to see how we can address these fears, but let's focus first on what happens to our bodies and our minds when we are about to speak in front of people. Speaking in front of people can also be when you are going for an interview or if you're going to give a presentation in front of your class. It doesn't have to be just when you're about to go on stage. All right, but let's picture this to start off, all right? Everyone here today, just imagine you are about to go on stage to speak and your heart starts to race and your palms get sweaty and you feel like your hands and your legs are trembling and you have no control over what is happening. You go on stage and you freeze, or you forget your lines, you go blank, right? Or you start to speak really fast. You start to speak really fast and you fumble your words. Now, let's take a look at why this happens to us. In neuroscience, which is the study of the brain, this is called the autonomic nervous system response. Autonomic meaning automatic response, right? And commonly, we know this term as the fight or flight response. Okay, I hope you're following me. Now, during this fight or flight response, we are experiencing a high level of alertness due to either fear or excitement, right? And this happens because the adrenal gland in our brain is releasing a chemical called epinephrine, which we know it as adrenaline, all right? And the release of adrenaline creates agitation in the body. And this agitation that we feel feels like stress, and it feels like fear, and it feels like nervousness, right? So when we are called to say something in front of the audience, the circuits in our brain anticipates this action. And that is why we feel nervous and we feel scared, all right? So to understand this further, try and bear with me, okay? A little science lesson here, okay? This is the primitive part of our brain. So in order to understand this, we have to look at primates and animals. So for instance, let's choose a gorilla, for example, just an example, okay? So when a gorilla is faced with a threat, they pause, right? Just like how we pause or we get scared right before we go on stage, right? So the gorilla looks at the threat and they either take action by turning away or they take action by expanding their body and moving forward towards the threat with great confidence, right? So bringing that back to ourselves, what you are experiencing is a heightened sense of alertness, okay? So what you can do before you go on stage is to change your body language. Just as the gorilla starts to expand, that's the same thing that we can do. In NLP, neurolinguistics programming, we know that 55% of communication happens through our body, okay? Non-verbal communication plays a huge role. If you're saying something, but your body's not showing it, I'm so excited, I'm so excited. Who's going to believe you, right? Nobody, okay? So the direct way to counter a feeling of fear or nervousness is to change the signal your brain is sending your body, and you do this by adopting a more open posture. When you see a confident person, they open their chest, they stand tall. Their arms are towards the sides of the body, not glued towards the body. They use their hands to show gestures and expression. And this forward movement, when we start moving, another thing starts to happen in our brain. Our brain then starts to release dopamine. Do you guys know what dopamine is? For short, dopamine is the reward chemical, okay? Dopamine is the chemical in our bodies that make us feel good, makes us feel great, right? When we eat a bar of chocolate, dopamine is released from our brains. That is dopamine, okay? So for reference, we can move on to the next slide, by the way. Okay, so for reference here, as mentioned, expansive open postures. You want to take up space. You want to be big. And I've written down here Amy Cuddy power poses. Okay, what you can do later on is search on YouTube for Amy Cuddy power poses. And that will probably give you a better idea of how to prepare your body before taking the stage. And then we move to energy rich. Before you speak in front of people, especially on stage, you want an audience to feel your energy, right? You want to be able to engage with them. So what I do backstage, and it doesn't matter if people backstage can see me, what I will do is I will listen to music, I will expand my body, and I will start moving. And I find that when I start moving and I start to get the blood flowing, I start to get very excited for my speech. I get to be very focused on my speech, right? So that's one of my tips that I do. All right, so moving on to the next slide. The power of breath. I know all of you should know this one when it comes to public speaking. When we are nervous, our breath is shallow and it's really fast. So one way to take control of your fear is to control your breath. You all know how to take a deep inhale through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, and exhale it through your mouth, right? Controlling your breathing will help you to center yourself and your focus. And before you say your first line on stage, the next time I want you to take one big breath before you say your first line so that that first line can make an impact. Because let me tell you, it is very important to nail your first couple of lines when you are opening, especially when it's to a real life audience. If not, you can lose their attention very quickly. Yeah, and when I mean quickly, I mean really quickly. Okay, the power of breath will also help you if you have made a mistake or if you have fumbled on your words. So for instance, if you have made a mistake during your speech, what I want you to do first is close your mouth. The reason why you need to first close your mouth is because if you have made a mistake, you're going to start breathing into the mic. You're going to start saying things like, oh, sorry, I forgot. You don't want to do that, okay? First thing, close your mouth. Second thing, take a deep breath. Third thing, ask yourself, where was I? And continue, all right? If you have made a mistake, try not to highlight to an audience that you have made a mistake, especially if the mistake is not an obvious one, all right? In time, or if you are really good with humor, when you have made a mistake, you can use humor. You can use humor on yourself. Oh, that is a great way to deflect a mistake that has been made, okay? But again, if you are going to use humor, approach with caution. What is funny to you is not funny to someone else. And never tell a joke twice, because the second time you tell a joke, it's not funny anymore. Yeah, we all know this. When people repeat their jokes on stage, it's like, it's not working. Okay, we can now move on to the next point. The next point here is the power of pause. When we are nervous, we tend to speak really fast and go through our script with no clear intention, and the audience has no idea what we're saying. When this happens, again, we fumble on our words. We lose our train of thought, and we fail at engaging with the audience. So, use the power of pause when you are speaking. Use it when you want to make an impact on certain sentences or words, right? And use it when you want to capture an audience's attention, because most likely, once you have finished saying your sentence, the audience is still processing what you are saying, right? And here's another tip. The power of pause will also help you to align your thoughts for the next frame of words that you need to say. So try to use the power of pause when you are speaking, along with the power of breath to center yourself, all right? We now move on to the next point, which is prime. Okay, prime. Ladies, we all put primer before we apply our makeup, right? Primer is almost like the same thing as when we're cooking. We put oil into the pan before we start cooking. So prime ourselves before we take the stage. So as mentioned earlier, you want to expand your body, okay? You want to get into the motion. You want to bring that energy on. I spelled energy wrong there. See, that's my mistake. And it's clear, I can't hide that one. Okay, you want to get into the power of breath and visualization. Visualization is very important. Before you get on stage, visualize the moment you walk on stage. Visualize the audience in front of you. And when you visualize the audience, visualize them as though they are so excited to hear from you. They want to hear from you. I want you to visualize the energy that you bring. Visualize the way you will present. Visualize yourself into success. Before you go on stage, if you are going to visualize or think to yourself, oh, I'm going to make a mistake, oh, I'm going to fumble my words, I'm going to trip and fall, let me tell you, most likely something like that will happen. All right, so it's very important to try to visualize that you will be successful. And in NLP, we call this a mental rehearsal, doing a mental rehearsal, okay? So even when you're doing your preparation before your event, when you're doing your lines, try and close your eyes, visualize yourself saying those lines, and that will really help it stick in your memory, all right? Okay, let's go on to the next slide here. We come into preparation, and you can see at the bottom, I've written, the more prepared you are, the more confident you are. The more you know your material, the more confidence you will have on stage or at your interview or when you're doing your presentation in class. All right, so in terms of preparation, first you need to identify your role. Identify your role in the sense of, are you the speaker, like myself today? Are you the MC, as Alfrey was just now? Okay, you need to identify your role and make it clear what that is. And you need to know what type of event you're speaking at. If it's a corporate sit-down dinner, that will help you to understand the type of feel, the type of language that you need to use. If it's a fun, outgoing, adventurous event, then you know how to identify what type of feel you need to bring to that. Okay, I think that is quite straightforward what that role is. Okay, let's move on to the audience. This is, to me, a very important part, okay? Because as a speaker, you are there to serve the audience, right? The audience is very important. So you need to know who is your audience, right? Which industry do they come from? What is the age group in the audience? Where are they from? Which countries are they from? So you need to know their demographic and their psychographic so that you can prepare information that will suit them, and you can speak to them in a language that will suit them and that they will understand, all right? This information will really help you to structure that type of language, okay? And my last point here is, it is crucial that you care about your audience, because the audience is there to hear from you. Your job as a speaker is to inform an audience. It is to educate the audience. You are never there to try to impress the audience. If you are there to impress an audience, and if that is your goal, you are not making it about the audience, you are not making it about the event, you're making it about yourself. And for me, as a speaker, as an MC, it's never about me. From my experience, it's always about the brand that I'm representing. It's always about the brand's clients who are in the crowd, who have come for their event, okay? I'm only the person who brings the message forward as a job, as an MC, all right? And then, okay, topic, presentation, all of this is the content that you have. Plan your content well, fact check, always check with the client, always check on the internet if things are correct as well. But then never believe everything you read on the internet. Some things are not true. So always fact check, okay? You guys know this one. Understand your script, understand the intention of your script, know the flow. If you are an MC like me or Alfred earlier, as an MC, you need to know the flow from the beginning of the event right to the end of the event, like the back of your hand, okay? So that if something goes wrong in between, you will know very quickly how to cover it up or how to move on to the next thing without having an awkward pause in that event space, okay? But again, with experience, you'll be able to take it on seamlessly, all right? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. All right, we have virtual speaking tips. Now, I know that some of you will be taking part in a public speaking competition, which is happening tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, right? So let's talk a little bit about how you can connect with an audience virtually. I know it's very different doing a public speaking competition and not having a live audience in front of you, but don't forget that people on the other side of the screen are watching and they can hear you. So in order to really connect with someone, all you have is this little camera right here. All you have to do is to look at the camera. All right. If you find it very difficult to look at the camera, I want you to stick something behind your computer or wherever your camera is and say, look here. Just look here. And that is where your point of focus should be in order to connect with the person on the other side. And another tip that I like to use, and you might think it's silly, but I think it works, is to imagine that when you're looking at the camera, it is someone that you love, so that your eyes can smile and you can really connect with the camera. All right, this is my tip. You want to use it, okay? Now let's talk about energy. So the camera dilutes 30% of the things you love about yourself, all right? And the camera accentuates 30% of the things you really don't like about yourself. It's a weird combination. but that is what happens. So if, for instance, you are a speaker who is quite timid and you speak quite softly, you're going to have to raise your energy. And by raising your energy, I don't mean shouting at the camera. I just mean your enthusiasm, okay? Your love for the topic, your love for connection, your passion, your drive, all right? And of course, do project your voice, but try not to scream, yeah? And hand gestures. Hand gestures are very crucial when we're speaking on camera, okay? Hand gestures are a great way for us to put emphasis on words and to communicate expressions with people. And here's a funny thing. If you're trying to make a point, let's say, for instance, example, I'm going to travel from Malaysia all the way to Indonesia tomorrow, as opposed to, I'm going to travel from Malaysia all the way to Indonesia tomorrow. See the difference? You want to hold that audience attention from one place to another. Try and take them on a journey with your hands. Yeah? Okay, mise en scene. Mise en scene is a term that we use on film, which basically describes the composition of this of the scene. All right? The composition, what is behind you, what it looks like. You don't want to have your laundry at the back of you while you're trying to do a competition or a live talk. So try and keep everything really well composed. All right, good lighting, good sound. And if you are on screen, try to avoid using clothing that has stripes or patterns. Okay, it can be a bit distracting. Try and use solid colors or bright colors, colors that resemble your personality. If you have a green screen, like how Hara has a green screen, don't wear the color green, okay? Some of you know this, some of you may still make the mistake of wearing green, all right? It will blend. And that's pretty much it for what I have for my presentation here today. But do ask me questions that you may want answered relative to what I presented. And if not relevant to what I presented, ask me anything. Or if you have something, a tip from your experience as a public speaker, maybe you want to share that with me as well.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Gabriela, for your material presentation for today. Now, we will going to open the question and answer for the session. If you have any question for Ms. Gabriela, you can write it down on the live chat in the Zoom meeting or in the YouTube, or you can use the raise hand feature to unmute yourself. And if you want to deliver your question in Bahasa Indonesia, you can write it down and I will try to translate it to Miss Gabriela. All right. Yeah? You have something to say, Miss Gabriela?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm just waiting for those questions to come in. Okay, I will let you handle this.
All right. We already have 3 participants raise hand. We are going to have Maharani Sinta. I will try to, yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the time. My name is Sinta Maharani from Udayana University, and I want to ask you, Miss. And we know eye contact is really important in the public speaking, but many people are not aware about it. And the question is, how we fix it, Miss? Thank you.
Sorry, what is the question?
How can you fix the eye contact when you're speaking, right, Maharani?
How do you fix eye contact while you're speaking? Well, with a live audience, especially with a large crowd, sometimes if you know someone in the audience, that could help you, right? Or if you don't know someone in the audience, a lot of the times what many of us as MCs will say is try to speak to people before the event starts. Because once you start speaking to people before the event starts, you could get comfortable with them. And when you start to speak and bring your message forward, essentially you will start to look at them. But in a case where you feel that you may be nervous looking at people, when I started as an MC, I was always very nervous to look at someone in the eye. So what I would do back then was I would sort of just glaze the room with my eyes rather than just looking directly at someone. So you can start trying to glaze your eyes first, but eventually as you gain more confidence, try to connect with people. I think connecting with people with your eyes and even with your body movements, when you make a point and you start to nod your head, you'll find that they will start to do it too, and they'll start to agree with you, right? Yeah, so I think to start off, try to just glaze around and get to know people before the event starts.
All right, I hope it answers, Maharani.
Yeah, I hope.
And before we're going to proceed to another raise hand participants, there are a question that is already collected by the committee.
Sure.
This is from Mega Alvina Sana. So the question is, can the introvert people master public speaking?
Yes, definitely, because I can tell you I'm a huge introvert myself. Yes. Yes, you definitely can. You know, it's very strange, but a lot of the times you see actors on TV and you see them performing and you're like, wow. But then off stage, they are very different people. A lot of the times people I work with will come up to me and say, oh, actually, you're very soft-spoken. And I'm just like, yeah, that's true, right? So it's okay if you're introverted. At the end of the day, I think it's just perception. If you have a passion for public speaking and you have a passion to connect with people in an authentic way, that will naturally come out when you start to speak to an audience. And if you are introverted and you find that you want to get better at speaking to people, just start speaking to people. Be the person that goes up to someone and says, hello, how are you doing today? Are you enjoying the event? Be that person. If there is ever an opportunity for you to speak, just raise your hand and speak. It takes a lot of guts sometimes, but in order to get better at it, you have to practice it often. I hope that helps.
Right, practice makes perfect. Thank you, Miss Gabriela. And we also have another participants raise their hand.
Yes.
Mr. Ranjiv Sihombing,
yes.
You can give your question. Yep, you can unmute yourself now.
Hello, Ranjiv.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity for me. Can you hear me clearly, Miss?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your material tonight, and I want to ask you one question.
Yes.
If we are on the stage, and then we talk about our presentation, and then we make the hand gestures not we can't control it. What's your best way to maybe to tell us what the best way to control our hand gestures or our body gestures? Yeah, that's my question.
Sure, of course. They say, as Elfrey said earlier, practice makes perfect, right? So when you are practicing at home, what you can do is just record yourself. When you record yourself, you will see the things you are doing, even when you are doing them unintentionally. So when you are choreographing your movement based on your, sorry about my camera, when you are choreographing your movement based on your script, try to choreograph a movement to a word. Let's say you start out your speech on stage right, And then by the time you get to the part where the man crosses the road, you start walking across the stage. You get what I'm saying? But the best way to see what you are doing is to always record yourself and try to choreograph your hand gestures. Try to match a hand gesture with the sentence and the words you are saying. And if you are very uncomfortable with using your hands, just put your hands like this. We have very different, we have it like this, we have it like this, we have it just touching the fingertips, or you can have them down at your sides. But most of the time, I would not like them down at the sides because you don't look alive. You need to look alive. So just have them right here in the center as you speak. Okay? And maybe if you're not comfortable using your hands, just use your hands once or twice. But the best way is to record yourself and see what you're doing. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, thank you, Ranji, for your question. And wow, we got a lot of people raising their hands now. They are so excited. And now we're going to proceed to Andrea. Wait. All right, you can unmute yourself, Andrea, and give your questions now.
Hi, Miss. So I'm an Indonesian student, but I'm studying abroad. And this country doesn't speak this country, it doesn't have English as its main language. So how to keep your confidence when you're speaking, even after you know you made a mistake in the language, because the grammar is so hard, and just like continue speaking like that.
Okay, so right now you're studying overseas in a country where they do not speak English to communicate? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I think most of the time when you are speaking a language that is not yours, people are very forgiving. Okay, so I think that when you are presenting, most likely, I think sometimes you will find that people will even give you an applause just for trying to speak that language. But if, for instance, that is not your mother tongue, my advice is to try to prepare as much as you can and try not to go off script, especially if it's a language where you won't know what to say if you were to go off script, such as myself, yeah? I speak English, I'm from Malaysia, tapi bahasa Melayu saya susah. Okay, so if I have to cakap in front of people in bahasa Melayu without a script, saya pun tak boleh. So I will just try my best to follow what is on my script, providing that I understand what I am saying as well.
Okay.
I hope that's helpful for you.
Yeah, that's actually very helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for your questions. And now we got Miss Akmarina. You can unmute yourself and give your questions now.
Hello, Miss Gabriela. Good evening from Indonesia. First of all, thank you, Miss Gabriela, for your clear explanation about this topic. I hope that my voice is clear enough because I'm on cafe right now and it's quite noisy in here. Okay, first, my name is Marina, and I currently work as a sign language interpreter. So yeah, basically my main job is to appear on the show, but I don't have to speak, but I need to maintain to keep focus on interpreting for the deaf participant. That's mainly my job. I have no background in psychology, but after 20 years I'm living my life, sometimes I wonder why I'm so emotional and sensitive and get overthink easily over something unimportant. But then, especially if it's related to my relationship with the other people, then I came into conclusion that I'm born with highly sensitive personality. It's like I used to treat this personality as as a weakness, but then I start to see this as my strength.
Sorry, I want to pause you. I want to just pause you right there. I'm having a very difficult time trying to hear you. I think it's the connection. Am I the only one? Just to ask real quickly, am I the only one who's having a connection issue?
It's clear for me. Miss Akmarina is clear for me.
Oh, she's clear for you? Okay, I couldn't hear her for a while there. All right, never mind. Please continue.
Okay, so the thing is, my question is, I got intimidated easily by the audience way of staring at me. So as a sign language interpreter, I cannot, it's forbidden for me to get intimidated by the audience way of staring. I know that it's just their way to stare at me. So I want to ask you a question: how to overcome this anxious feeling if I get intimidated by the audience way of staring? Is it clear enough?
Okay. The line wasn't great for me, but I'm just going to try and answer your question from what I have heard. Okay, you want to know how to overcome being intimidated by an audience. Okay, see, universal language, guys, body language communicates 55%. Okay, all right, so first things first. When we are talking about an audience, what I need you to remember is that the audience is there and they are waiting to hear from you. Instead of the mindset of, oh, people are going to judge me, oh, what will they think? I want you to shift your focus and have the mindset of, this audience is here. They've paid money to come and watch. They've taken themselves from their home all the way to this event to watch me. They want to hear what you have to say. And I think knowing this, knowing that people want to hear from you should give you some sense of comfort. And if ever, like yourself, you're using your hands mostly to communicate, right? If you're ever feeling that sense of nervousness, what I like to do when I'm nervous, especially when I'm already on stage, I like to push my big toe into the ground. I know this sounds a little bit weird, but when I do get nervous, especially when I'm talking on stage, I push my big toe into the ground because I feel like the more grounded I am, the more confident I am, because I know that when we get nervous, we feel almost a little bit weak, right? But for you, you know, in terms of talking about like using movement to get yourself focused, you're already using your hands. So I think that's already a great way for you to overcome your nervousness, but definitely never feel intimidated by an audience. More so, sometimes I think an audience could be intimidated by you.
All right, Miss Akmarina, I hope it answers your question. And yeah, we're moving on to Miss Rania Fatima. I already saw your questions here, and maybe you want to, ask directly to Miss Gabriela. Please unmute yourself, Miss Rania Fatima.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Rania, and I have a question for you, Ms. Robinson. I actually do have an anxiety issue and handshaking when I'm about to go on a stage or before doing public speaking. And my question is, do you have any recommendation? Like, what do we have to think when the anxiety or when we're having a panic while we're speaking? And what do we have to do to distract our negative mind? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. So I mentioned earlier that when we get nervous, the couple of things that we can do is to use our body, expand your body, get ready to take the stage, control your breath. As much as you think it's very repetitive that a lot of people say this, it is very true. So what you can do, even when you don't have a presentation, is to practice breathing exercises. All right? Getting control of your breath will relax your body. When you are relaxed, things start to flow better. They really do. And there was one point that you actually asked that towards the end. I totally lost that part. What did you ask me towards the end?
What was my question at the end?
Yeah, towards the end, there was one point that you made.
Okay, so what do we have to think when the anxiety or when we're having a panic while we do speaking? And what do we have to do to distract the negative mind that comes to our mind?
Okay, ways to distract yourself. So we can use our cognitive senses, right? So earlier I mentioned that before I get on stage, if I get nervous, I like to distract myself by listening to music. I like to listen to music that really makes me feel good. The kind of music where in my car, I'm just singing to myself and it doesn't matter who can see me. So try to use your cognitive senses to distract yourself. It's either you listen to music, if you are a more visual person, maybe you like to look at images. Maybe you like to look at videos, all right? It depends what works for you. But I think using your cognitive senses is a great way for you to sort of, I wouldn't use the word distract, but to find a channel of focus. All right. And what you do before you go on stage is something that you also need to do and practice every day. And one way to increase your stress tolerance, all right, I hope you're following me. One way to increase your stress tolerance is to do things daily that help increase that tolerance. For instance, exercising. Exercising causes stress on the body and the mind, right? But exercising also gives you mental stamina. So the threshold that you have of that stress threshold that is increased, the more you are able to control your stress threshold when the time comes when you need to perform. I hope that's helpful.
Wow. Thank you, Miss Gabriel. And thank you,
Thank
Nia.
you so much. That's very helpful.
You're welcome.
So exercising, right? Exercise. Okay.
It could be anything. It could be exercising. It could be anything that pushes you more than your limit. Anything that takes your stress levels high and will challenge you mentally in that process. For me, that works for me. Okay, you need to find what works for you.
Right. Thank you so much, Miss Gabriela. And now we have Mr. Aun Muhammad. I also already saw your question in the chat box, and maybe you want to ask Miss Gabriela directly. You can unmute yourself now.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So basically, my question is that how can I keep my audience engaged with me and not let them like drift away from the topic or get bored or something like that?
Number one tip, ask them a question. The one way to keep your audience in tuned is to suddenly ask them a question. And then that will suddenly bring their mind back to, oh, what's happening? Right? That's my number one tip. And of course, the second one is to pause. Pause and have a look at them. And you'll find that suddenly everyone's just looking at you. And remember that you want to always give value to your audience, yeah? This is a little bit off topic. but remember to always try and give your audience value, stories, impactful stories, relatable stories. And a thing about, again, going off topic, a thing about self-confidence most of the time comes from our value as people, what our value as a person. When we have strong values and we believe in something and we're passionate in something, you will find that you will be able to speak on this topic with gravitas, with presence, right? Okay, I'm going off topic, but I hope I answered your question and how to bring an audience attention back to you. Ask them a question.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That pretty much answered my question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aun Muhammad, for your question. Now, before we proceed to another raised hand, we have questions from our YouTube live streaming now that have been collected by our committee. This question is from Nura Faisal. Hello, I want to ask you, Miss Gabriela, when we do speech in this era, I mean online speech, which one is the best way to speech? Moving our hands or not moving our hands? I think it's you already answered. But
definitely moving your hands, speaking with your hands, speaking with your body, because as mentioned and research has proven, 55% of non-verbal communication comes from your body. So use your hands to communicate.
All right. Verbal communication take a huge role. So you have said it before.
Yes.
And let's proceed to another raise hand. We can go to Miss Saruni. You can unmute yourself now and give your questions to our lovely Miss Gabriela.
Hello. You have to unmute your mic.
Yeah. Hi guys, you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, hi Miss. Yo, I really adore you. You look like really calmly person. You look like so positive. So how can you do that? I mean, speak in front of people and you keep calmly.
Well, thank you so much for your compliment. You know, I to answer your question, I'm just gonna say that I am passionate about public speaking. I'm so passionate about it, and I think that what makes it even more special is that I can share my experience with people, and I can connect with people, and that connection with people and sharing process with people is it makes me happy. Yeah.
Just it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Saruni. And we have Mr. Ahmad. I also already saw your question in the chat box. You can ask directly to our Miss Gabriela.
Okay. Hello, Miss. I'm Ahmad Rais Satria Wicaksono from State Islamic University of Tulungagung, Indonesia. Here my question is, based on my experience, I want to ask about other etiquettes during speaking in front of international audiences, because sometimes the cultural differences can make a misunderstanding. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ahmed. So I didn't quite get what your question is, but yes, you are right. When you're speaking to an international audience, we must keep in mind cultural sensitivity, right? Because different cultures express words and express body language differently. What is not rude to them could be rude to us, right? Especially when we're talking in the sense of Asian countries versus the Western side of the world. gestures that we do or gestures that they do can come across very differently. So I think in this case, you will need to broaden your awareness of what is acceptable in other cultures. Okay, it's very important to do your research of what is acceptable in other cultures, what are the right terms when we want to address people, different people of different standards, as well in different cultures have a different, I don't know, how do you say it in Indonesian, but like protocol, for instance, right? His Excellency, or maybe in Bahasa Indonesia, it's something else. Right, so I think being very well aware of what's going on around the world, being aware of how people communicate around the world is something that you will need to do in order to be able to speak to a crowd that is more diverse. Does that help you? Ahmed, are you there?
Yeah, it's really helpful for me. Based on my experience, yeah, like you said before, usually I before start the talk the chat, I ask apologies to them. Maybe if I will making mistakes, or that's it.
Okay, so my tip as from an MC perspective is that when I am speaking, I will never ask for permission, and I will never sell myself short. I will never say, I'm sorry if I can't da 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 da. I will never do these two things, okay? Never ask for permission, never sell yourself short. Only and only if you have really made a crucial mistake, you can apologize. A crucial mistake is like saying the designation of someone's name wrong or saying the person's name wrong. Sometimes on stage, let's say you made the mistake once, you said their name wrong. The next time you say their name, say it the right way. Or for instance, you've only had to say their name one time. At the end of the event, I will go to the person, I will say, excuse me, I am so sorry that I had mentioned your name wrong. I will always go up to the person and I will apologize, okay? Yeah, but for you, if you're speaking to an international crowd, and let's say it's an English speaking crowd and your English language isn't as fluent, it's okay. As long as you can get your point across, because at the end of the day, it's how you say the words forward. Most of the time, people will be able to understand you. All right, I completely understood you. No problem.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Miss. That's make me realize my mistakes.
Yeah. Never apologize before you start speaking. There's nothing to apologize for.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad. And we're going to proceed to another raised hand now. To Miss Chita, you can unmute yourself now and ask questions.
Hello, Miss. My voice is clear. Okay. My question is based on my experience when I do a presentation. Some of my friends just attract for some girl is a good looking. When she doesn't good looking, no one gonna attract to take attention for our presentation. How do you think about it? Is it good looking is important to attract an audience or something? That's my question. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. To answer your question, I understand sometimes people perceive good looking in many different ways. Okay, we all don't have the same eyes, but remember, personality, character will always beat beauty. You can be beauty and talk on stage, but you can be so boring. Or you can also be good looking and talk on stage, but have a personality of 1 billion people, and you can really engage with people. And remember that when you are on stage or when you are speaking to people, people want to connect with people. People want to connect with people who are relatable. Yeah? We can really connect with people who are honest, who are authentic. So it doesn't really matter what that external beauty may be. Yeah? Let's not try to conform to what the world might think is beautiful, because that is ever changing now. Okay, you are all beautiful in yourself. I think that when it comes to presenting, as long as you look appropriate, you are dressed for the occasion, you are dressed for the theme, you are good to go. All right? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Miss.
Yeah.
That's make me more confident.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miss Chita, for your questions. And we're going to proceed to another questions from YouTube before we proceed to another raise hand.
Sure.
So this is for Nur from Nur Shafrida. Hello, Miss Gabriela. I want to ask something. How if we forget about our speech in the middle of our performance? Can you give us tips to what should we do when we are in that situation? Thank you.
Okay, from my experience, what I would do if I suddenly forgot my next line or I suddenly forgot what I needed to say is I will pause. I will ask myself, where was I? Or maybe I will ask the crowd a generic question until I get my train of thought back. Or I will try to improvise the situation until the lines come back to me. So if you are not well versed with improvising, you can practice by picking topics out of a hat. Pick topics out of a hat and practice talking about a topic. And that will really help you when it comes to improvising on stage. But most of the time, what you can do is just take a pause, breathe, ask yourself, where was I? And most likely the thought will come back to you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I hope that it can answer your questions, Miss Nur Shafrida. And next, we're going to proceed to another raise hand. To Miss Intan, you can unmute yourself and ask your questions now.
Hello, Miss Gabriela. Nice to know you.
Hello, Intan.
I want to ask, sometimes when I did speech, and then my friend said, Intan, you were too slow. Intan, you were too fast. And how to realize that when we speak in front of many people, we realize that, oh my God, it is too slow. It is too fast. Yeah. That's
Okay,
my question.
Thank you, Intan, for your question. So as mentioned earlier, it's always best to record yourself. When you record yourself while you are practicing, you will know when you're going too slow. You will know when your energy drops. Okay? So when you record yourself and you rewatch yourself, you can see where you can correct yourself. That's pretty much the best advice I can give you, because I've never watched myself when I was on stage. I wish I could split myself into two, but the only way is to record myself. And sometimes when I record myself, maybe I will show it to my sister or my mom, someone close to me. and get their opinion. And then after I get their opinion, maybe I will show the video to a professional friend, someone who's in the industry, someone who I'm not so close to, and see what they have to say. Because remember, different eyes have different perspective and they can give you different kind of feedback. But I hope that answers your question. Record yourself every time you practice. And then you'll see things that you do and you're wondering why you're doing that. Do I really move my hand that way when I'm speaking? You'll see all kinds of things.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Thank you, Intan.
That's helpful.
Thank you, Miss Intan. Due to our constraint of time, we will only gonna proceed to 2 last questions. And we're going to pick Mr. Jet. You can unmute yourself and give your questions.
Hello, Miss. My name is Joshua. So I would like to ask a question. So my real problem in public speaking is how do I balance between my competitions and real life? For example, in competitions, I do not have that trouble in speaking, but in real life, I was kind of stutters when I speak to people, or maybe I was given this chance to impromptu in front of people. Whenever I give some kind of speech and impromptu, in my head, it sounded so clearly, but when I want to say it, there's some kind of missing pieces, missing links that it doesn't make any point. And I kind of stutters and I just got lost like that. How do I balance it? So I feel like this kind of imposter syndrome where, yes, I were able to achieve some trophies, but in real life, I'm not really that good. So I feel so, yeah, like that.
Okay, I understand. For starters, I know it's easier said than done, but try to put imposter syndrome aside. Get that out of the way from now, okay? What you need to practice a lot of the time when we want to be good at practicing is trying to link our verbal to brain connection. The faster this process is, the easier it is for us to communicate on the go, right? So as mentioned earlier, you want to be able to try and pick different topics and speak about the topics from the top of your head, right? One way to do it is to read up about a topic, read up about 10 different topics and ask a friend of yours to ask you something about that topic. You should be able to speak on the top of your head about that topic. And the more you practice this, the faster the connection from the brain to your mouth will happen, all right? But of course, sometimes it's not easy, especially when it comes to a topic that we're not familiar with, okay? There can be events that I do, let's say I'm doing an event about oil and gas. What would I know about oil and gas, right? I will have to go and do my research. And if I have friends, I will ask friends about it. Or if there are videos online, I will watch these videos online. And I think what you can do is to really practice just talking to people. And when you practice talking to people, try to practice talking to people as if you are presenting, okay? The person that people talk to should be the same person that is up on stage presenting. You understand what I'm saying? Jet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? So whenever you're speaking to someone in real life, instead of like looking down and talking this way, I want you to really get that energy up. Get into that speaker mode.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. I will.
Yes, okay.
It's daily practices, right?
Practice, it's all practice. Like
talking in the mirror counts.
Talking in the mirror, you know, everybody practices in the mirror, you know, but when you leave the mirror away and you look elsewhere, it's like, oh, where did my thought process go? You know what I mean? You can look at yourself in the mirror and remember every line from A to Z, and then suddenly your point of focus changes and it's like, oh, what was my line?
Agree.
I cannot remember, right? Yeah.
Thank
but
you so much, Miss.
Oh, you're welcome. But there is this saying that confidence is competence. So the more competent you are at something, the more confident you will be.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Josh, for your questions. And now we're going to proceed for our last question. To Miss Anjali, you can unmute yourself and ask your question now.
Anjali, if you're speaking, Anjali, I cannot hear you.
Yeah, we cannot hear you. All right.
Now you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So nice to see you, Mrs. Robbins. So my question is, sometimes when we talking in the stage, like suddenly there is a disturbance, like maybe the slide is suddenly turned off or the microphone is suddenly turned off. So when we're in the situation, how do we handle it? How to make the situation don't feel very awkward or like anything? Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah. You know what? I experience this all the time. And no matter how you don't want it to be awkward, somehow or rather, it's still going to be awkward. But if something like that does happen, the moment it comes on, I'll just be like, apologies, and then just move on. Just move on as if it didn't happen. Or let's say the disturbance that happened was a video has to turn on. Ladies and gentlemen, please watch the video. The video doesn't turn on. All right, guys, we're just waiting for our technical team to play that video for us. Try to improvise, try to go off cuff, especially if the disturbance is a really long and awkward one. But most of the time, it's also okay not to say anything. Don't feel that silence is a bad thing. Don't feel that silence is an awkward thing. Sometimes silence is fine, and your audience usually are very forgiving. They understand it is not your fault, okay? But what you can do most of the time is, for instance, you know your itinerary of the event, right? You know that there is a video to be played. Usually there is a stage manager or someone in charge to tell you the video is ready. You must go and ask the person, is the video ready to be played? Okay, then you make the announcement, then you know it's going to play. Or let's say you have a performance, a dance performance is going to happen. You want to check with your own eyes that the dancers are backstage ready to go. You will ask them yourself, are you guys ready? Okay, okay, I will now announce. All right, sometimes you cannot depend on the stage manager or the people around you to help control the situation. Sometimes you have to do it by yourself. I've been in this scenario many times where I have announced something and nothing happens. And I'm just like, damn, why? When I learn from my mistake, all right? So always try to take initiative and do it by yourself, all right? Even sometimes when you're about to give, let's say, a presentation where someone is giving a token of appreciation to a CEO or somebody, right? You need to check, is the usherer who is carrying the trophy or the present for the person ready and are ready to go on stage? You need to do all of this. And technically, it is not your job, but you should make it your job. I make it my job, because if someone makes a mistake and the audience sees it, it's my face on the front, right? It's my mistake. Okay, so take initiative. Take initiative to check. A lot of these times there's so much going on, all right? The audience is there. Videos need to be played. You need to remember your script. You need to check if people are ready behind you. Are they ready to go? It's all 5 senses are working at the same time, yeah, consistently. I hope that helps you. But yeah, in the case, if something does happen, Just allow the silence to go past and then just continue. That's the most direct way.
Wow, thank you so much for Anjali for your questions. And Anjali will be our last questions tonight. To sum up this session, please give your closing statement, Miss Gabriela.
Wow, closing statement. Ooh. Well, firstly, I want to thank all of you so much for all of your questions. And I really hope that I could answer them. And I hope that you could understand my answers to your question. I hope that it was helpful for you. And, you know, at any time, hit me up on Instagram. I'm there. Ask me a question. If you need some tips as an MC, ask me a question. If you are someone who's starting out as an MC and you need someone to help guide you along the way, please just approach me at any point. Yeah, we can all only learn from each other. I have had to ask many friends for some advice along the way. So what I can tell you is never be afraid to ask for help. All right. There's no one in this world who does things by themselves. You always have help around you. You just have to speak up and ask. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Gabriela. Maybe you could drop your Instagram account in the chat room so they can all follow you and see what you're doing on your Instagram. Thank you so much for your session today, Miss Gabriela. Now, we are going to have a photo session together. Yay! To all participants here in the Zoom meeting, please turn on your camera. I'm so sorry for those of you in the YouTube session. Maybe you just can pose yourself. And yeah, to all participants here in the Zoom meeting, please turn on your camera. The photo session will be taken by our host, by our committee today. Okay, we got 20 slides. Wow, we don't know in which slides you are, guys, but yeah, please keep holding on, please keep that smile. All right. Okay. All right. We're going to proceed for the first slide. Yeah, the committee. You ready, guys? All right. Okay. The first slide, guys. Okay. Please have your biggest smile. All right. First slide. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. The second slide. Oh my God, we have 20. Please keep holding on, guys. The second slide. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. Third slide. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Yeah, we still got people open up their camera in fourth slide. Wow, you guys are so amazing. Fourth slide. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. Fifth slide. Wow, you still, guys, you still open up your cam. Okay. Fifth slide. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right. Sixth. Wow, okay. Sixth slide, okay? 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, let's see if the seventh slide is still. Oh, you guys still open it. Wow, you guys are so amazing. Okay, the seventh slide. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Yeah. Okay, the eighth slide. Oh, wow, you still open up your camera. Okay. Ninth slide, please. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Yes. The 10th. All right, you guys, okay, but okay, it's okay. 10th slide. You guys already have like 5 here, but okay. Translate. 1, 2, 3, cheers. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for today's webinar. Now we are at the end of this webinar. I want to thank our lovely speaker, Miss Gabriela, for giving a great material and a great discussion time. And also I want to thank all of you, the wanderers who have stayed here until the end of this webinar. The one who is on the Zoom meeting or in the YouTube live streaming from the beginning till the end. And also, don't forget to fill the feedback form. The committee is already giving the feedback form in the chat room, in the Zoom meeting, or in the live chat in the YouTube session. And don't forget, if you have a screenshot or if you want to share something from this webinar, you can share it in your Instagram story and tag at wonder.voice. The Wonder Voice team project and I apologize if there are any inconvenience during the webinar process. See you on top, everyone. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Miss Gabriela. Oh my God. Thank you, everyone. Please fill the feedback form, ya, guys. Yay, thank you guys. Thank you for all of you who is in the YouTube also. Thank you guys.